Running that is only one part of the equation to being a great roofer, right? Yesterday we had 15 applicants and only 5 of them had driver's licenses. Now, working in the roofing industry can be tough and it can also be dangerous, but that's not the worst part about being a roofer. The worst part is when the boss has no standards for their hiring, right? When they'll just hire anybody who applies because there's just less people who can and want to do this job, right? Now, if we hire those people, the problem is that it's going to affect you, the potential employee who's already working for us, and we owe it to you to create a predictable and safe atmosphere, and we also owe that to our customers, right? We all know a great roofer, right? I know several who, fantastic when it comes to skills, they're very safe, all that kind of stuff, but they're battling addiction, which means that they've had issues in their life where they've missed the, they were kind of got a DUI or they've missed car payments, have their cars repossessed. These kinds of things happen. And then we want to help them, but we can't, because if they're taking the bus and they're late for work because the bus stop they had the wrong one or it was too far away or they missed the bus and have to wait an extra hour. I mean, many of these people come to us 13 years experience roofing, but no driver's license. And what that translates into is that they could even be a foreman, but you can't start a football game when the quarterback's 20 minutes late. They're not going to follow that person, right? Because it's a team atmosphere. And that's why we can't necessarily help that person, even though we might want to, right? It's about taking care of our employees that are already there and the customer, because 11% of all customer complaints on Better Business Bureau are actually about one industry. BBB covers 100 plus industries. So how is it that 11% can be only one? And that industry, unfortunately, is roofing. Now, why? It's not the product, right? It's not the tools, it's the people, right? If we hire the wrong kind of people and they come in and they have a bad attitude, maybe they went on a bender, they had a busy weekend, there's a lot of stress and conflict and challenges in their life, maybe they're hungover or they're tired. They're going to come to work with a bad attitude. They're going to be grumpy. They're not going to want to work as a team. They're going to want to be left alone. Sometimes they don't want to come near anybody else because they're worried that their breath smells, right? That they smell like alcohol. And what happens is it creates this toxic atmosphere. And then guys are fighting. They just want to go home. They want to be done their job. They're going to be snappy with each other, because when you take a tough job, right, not to mention dangerous, just the toughness, it's going to cause tempers to fire up, and that creates a bad atmosphere. And we didn't know how important it was to customers to have a positive, happy atmosphere until we started seeing it so often in our Google reviews. And if you go read our Google reviews right now, you're going to see happy guys. They were singing, they were waving at my kid through the window, and everybody was working as a team. It seems like they really like working with each other. And that's because Joe Sargeant, he worked as a roofer for other roofing companies before him and I partnered up and start this company. And his thing was he wanted 6 guys. Why? Because there should be a team. There can be 2 guys ripping, 2 guys prepping, and 2 guys shingling, or however those different those duties break up. It should always be a team atmosphere. One guy filling the wheelbarrow and making piles, another guy carrying it to the garbage can with the wheelbarrow. Like different things like this to make many hands make light work, right? And so, we found that Joe will even hop in. If there's 5 guys, he hops in to make sure the day goes well. Because if you create that positive atmosphere, the guys are going to get along. They're going to have a good day. They're not going to cut corners because they just want to go home. They're going to want to do a good job because they appreciate that atmosphere. I didn't understand this, but, he talks about how the guys come to work, and I've heard the roofers say it, that they come to work to actually escape all the hassles of their day, that the challenges they deal with at home, or the kids doing what kids do and taking a lot of their energy, and they like just being able to come to work with the boys, throw around some bundles, put them on a good roof, and take pride in what they've done. And that's why I really believe in what Joe has created, and that's why we don't hire these kinds of people. So if you're watching this video and it sounds like a roofing company environment where you want to work at, and you want to be work in an environment like this, I'm going to put a button around here where you can click and apply, and you can talk to Joe and get a job, and we can actually have you become part of the team. But you gotta be, you gotta have a driver's license. You gotta be able to get yourself to work. Right? You gotta have a car. It doesn't have to be a nice car. Just gotta be able to get yourself to work, right? You gotta have a willingness to learn. You gotta have a willingness to work as a team. We don't need lone wolves here. We want team players, because that's what we've proven to work. That's why we have the reputation that we have, and that's why we're so scared of losing it. And we want to desperately make sure that we continue to bring in the right people in this company. So I'd love to hear from you. Let's get to work. We got lots of calls coming in for roofs.